going to start? If you're going to call up Jeff Driscoll from the practice?
Davis will start the game. Tyrod will not play. We're maybe going to bring up Jeff Driscoll.
Start in a situation like this. What are a couple of things that you want to see for them kind of in a perfect world?
Basically just do what we ask him to do. We'll actually have the same playbook. Obviously, there are some things that he is a little different than Tyrod, but we actually have the same kind of plays, but we'll use the things that fit him more so than what we did with Tyrod. Some of the things we did with Tyrod, we may not do with him in the run game, but as far as the pass game, it'll basically be the same thing.
It seemed like some defenses were kind of ready. Some of the ways y'all were running the ball with him because of him not being a runner. How do you adapt to that with Mills in?
No, I don't think there was anything we did when we tried to run with him, because I don't think there was any runs that we had that we tried to run with him. Oh, we're running the ball? No, we're going to run the ball the way we run the ball. We're not going to change anything what we did. Basically, when we have not been successful running the ball, it's basically been because of things that we haven't done that we should have done correctly.
Did you sense that the Browns were kind of gearing up against the run more when Davis was in there in the second half and kind of challenging him to throw?
I didn't feel that way because front-wise and coverage-wise, they didn't really change. And we really didn't really change. What happened is I just know the first two drives that we had in the second half, we had mistakes in those two drives, and it wasn't so much of what they were doing defensively; it was what we were doing offensively. We weren't doing it very well.
Hey, how much will it help? Do you have more information on Tyrod's injury and how long he'll be out?
I'm not sure what the timetable is right now.
Coach, you have a little bit of an older team. Are you going to be relying on those veterans to help Davis get prepared for this big start?
Well, I think basically they're just going to play the game just like he's been our quarterback. That's how they played it whenever we were in preseason with him. I don't think anything will be any different with the way they approach it.
Coach, how much will it help Deshaun will be inactive, like you said, but with only two quarterbacks, will he participate in any portion of practice to help you guys prepare?
No.
David, how much will it help Davis that he's already got a couple of quarters under his belt going into this game?
Tremendously. As a matter of fact, after the game, I think during the interview process, he mentioned how comfortable he was. He didn't really feel like there was anything happening to him that he wasn't prepared for. And after going back and watching the video, there really wasn't anything that they did that would confuse him or did anything any differently. He handled himself well, and I expect him to do the same thing this week.
Do you change much of what you do because it's a different guy back there under center, or is it still the same play schedule, that kind of thing?
It's still the same play schedule. It's just like I said, some of the things in the run game that you do with Tyrod because of his legs that you wouldn't do with Davis. But then there's some other things in the passing game that we'll do with him that we hadn't done. Sorry. That's my alarm to get down here to you all. I want to make sure I was here early.
David, is there an update on? Could you tell us on Danny Amendola and this Anthony Miller guy you could fill in this week?
Anthony will be up this week. Danny will probably not be up this week. We'll still know more about that this afternoon. Excuse me?
For Nico Collins, who would be available for him if he's not?
Well, basically, there's a possibility that we could bring up a guy from the practice squad.
David, do you sometimes when a rookie quarterback comes off the bench in a situation like Sunday, is different mentally than when he has all week prepared, knowing he's going to start? Can you talk about the two different approaches a quarterback takes in that situation?
Well, in his case, he's had all the reps this week. He's getting every rep, where previously he only gets a select few reps. And I think getting those reps, there's a comfort level that goes in getting those reps. From a mental standpoint, he's always been good with knowing that his time could come up and not getting those reps. He's been ready. Now that he's gotten those reps, I think there'll be a more comfort level in him starting the game. And I think, John, that's a good point, because I think in the second half when he had to go out to play, I think not having had those reps in practice and all of a sudden now I'm up, probably made a difference. And I think this week going into the game, when we start the game and he's out there, I think there'll be a much better comfort level with him.
What are you seeing in the run blocking, and what do you think about the issues with the run blocking? I know Mark Ingram's done well, but
Well, I don't think there's been some issues. When there's been issues, Jerron, it's been because we've had a misassignment here or there. We've had some guys that basically have been working together, and sometimes the team you're playing has something to do with that.
Do you feel like the run game will be even, I know you guys have emphasized the run since y'all got here, but do you think it'll be even more important than trying to keep a rookie and inexperienced quarterback comfortable against what's already a good defense?
Well, last week, even with Tyrod, I didn't feel like we ran the ball like we needed to run the ball. And we're going to do the same thing this week, as we will do every week, in trying to establish that. And hopefully we'll be a little bit more consistent than what we've been. And we're playing a defensive football team that's been playing very well for the first two ball games. Not very many. The two teams that they played haven't done a very good job of running the football on them. But we're going to try to do that.
But when you talk about the other players that have been banged up, you have any updates on like Justin and Charles and the rest of them?
They will be available. They're okay. They just got a little banged up, but as I said before, that's football. They'll be ready to play.
Because now to the extent of Tyrod Taylor's injury, are you guys going to explore the market to bring in an additional quarterback?
We'll just have to wait and see. I think Nick is always looking for those kind of things, and I guess after this game, we'll kind of see where it's at and go from there.
David, how much will it help Davis Mills? Who's
All right, now I'll take it.
okay? How much will it help Davis Mills, even though it's a short week? He knows he's starting and he has several days to prepare.
He's ready. He is ready. He's been exactly what you want your backup quarterback to be. And when he went in the game this past week, it had nothing to do with, other than the one time that they got him on a blitz. He executed very well. He was sharp. He did exactly what we needed to do, even in the run game. And I just think he'll be a lot more comfortable now simply because he has been out there and against a very good defensive football team.
When you look at Brian Burns and Summer, what sets these guys apart, makes them difficult to block for any offense such as yours?
Well, they fly around the ball. They remind me a lot of how our defense plays. They're up front guys that really get after it. They play a scheme, not similar to what we do, but, they change it up a little bit. And, they do a good job of what we like to say playing 11-on-11 defense. Those guys all fly to the ball. They've done a good job of doing that, and we just got to be on our P's and Q's and make sure we take care of that.
What was it about?
In the first couple of weeks, how have you seen Tim Kelly, his comfortability as a play caller? What have you seen from him in the first couple of games?
He's done exactly what we wanted to try to do going into each ball game. We haven't always been successful doing it, but we're playing the way we have to play to be successful on offense. We just got to execute better. But I'm happy with exactly where we are right now.
David, you took a big chance going with a rookie quarterback as a backup. What did you see in Mills that made you comfortable doing that instead of bringing a veteran in to be the backup?
Preseason. Just the way he handled himself during preseason. I really felt like, he had some tough moments during the preseason where he came back and showed that he had some maturity about him, a lot more maturity than you would probably see in a rookie. He's never, ever gotten frustrated. I've gotten more flustered than he has during the ball game. And I just really like his maturity and feel comfortable going in the game. And we'll help him out in the game. We know he's a rookie quarterback, but we'll help him out, and we'll do things to make sure that all the other 10 guys around him are doing their job to be able to keep him upright and keep him comfortable.
What do you guys can do with at the wide receiver position with Nico Collins and Curry bring some guys up on the practice squad?
Well, there's a possibility we could bring up a guy on the practice squad. Not sure who it is yet right now, but there's a possibility. We'll know more about that this afternoon.
And you couldn't really understand. You couldn't expect this many injuries at once like this. Whatever you're carrying and making decisions about, how to carry things on the roster off it, like how difficult does that make things whenever you're trying to figure things out in such a short amount of time?
Well, it goes back to the next man up mentality. We've got guys in backup positions that they know that when these kind of things happen, and it's going to happen in football. And I don't think it's any more now than it would normally happen. We've played what we would consider two physical ball games. And when you play those type ball games, these things happen. Some of the injuries that have happened that has nothing to do with the fact that guys got hurt. It was just some injuries that happened. But there are guys that get hurt in the game. They come back in. We had 4 or 5 guys that got hurt in that game, came back in and played. And they're a little banged up right now, but they'll be ready to go Thursday night.
What sort of added challenges is it though that you have to manage
Yeah, but we're good with our situation there. We're very comfortable with the situation we have there.
Coach, you look at what Joe Brady did with this offense without Christian McCaffrey for so much of it last year. You see what Culley's used him in these two games. What are the major differences you see the way he runs his offense with Christian out?
Well, it's obviously that they're going to find ways to get him the football. If you just look at the two ball games he's played, when he's in there, there's a pretty good chance that during the series he's going to end up touching that ball, whether it's running the ball or them throwing the ball to him, simply because he's a tremendous player. He's one of the best players in this league at being multi-purpose at what he does, and they do an excellent job of putting him in situations to be successful, and they do a good job of doing that.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
Welcome. Okay.
Can you speak up a little bit? I'm sorry.
What did you see from Joey on the missed kick? What are you expecting going forward?
Yep, he had a great pregame, had a great week of practice, especially as we work towards the end of the week. Every one of our specialists, you want to kind of hit those final cleanups as you get closer to game time. Just a little bit of a pull, but we got to fix our field goal protection in general. We got to get all that together. If you guys, we got to get those guys to make sure we know everything is stout and pure.
Breaking down the punt return, the muff there with Andre Roberts, what happened there, and how did you talk about that?
Yeah, obviously short kick coming up into traffic, coming up at full speed. And listen, it's Andre Roberts. Everybody knows this guy puts in the work, has done it time and time again. No secret to myself, to him, or anybody that we will play. But he knows nobody wants to get that right more than him. So we'll get that corrected.
Did someone get their hand on that? Was it tipped, or was it just a low?
No, it was just it was a good force and just a shorter punt.
That's another time I see my obvious stuff when a play, not trying to follow, when a play like that happens, I mean, speak to me. How much that can swing the momentum of the game, whether it's early or late in the game.
That's right. So it's our job as special teams to always get the ball back to the offense and make sure we maintain the flow of the game. Any play, whether it's a turnover, a sudden change in the game of football can happen at any point in time. Need our defense to stand up. We get a takeaway on defense. Need our offense to generate points, etc. So, as the NFL, things do happen, and we got to make sure that we just continue to play our game and not let any of those things kind of spiral, and I think we did that.
Desmond returned one kick. Was that a function of wanting to get a different look, or because Andre had to play receiver?
No, that's correct. So, as far as, the health and status, and again, just like anything else, we'll call the game to whoever we have available to us, and Andre, they're going into an offensive role to help spare some of that. So that's why Desmond was back there for those situations.
With the injuries, Frank, receiver, Andre could have to play receiver more, then would you continue to take the load off of him in the return game?
Yep, there's always, it's the blessing of having a deep returner room. There's always a chance we can have different bodies back there throughout any game on the season, really. We have, Traymon Smith has a history of both returns. So we have multiple guys that can do it. If anybody at any point in time, if Desmond King is playing every single snap of defense, we would try and lighten the load potentially in our kicking game phases.
Did y'all do that by design, make sure you had some return guys, a bunch of return guys? In the past, they've never done that. They just had one.
Yeah, and
Multiple.
I think every year will be different relative to who you have and how you're constructed. This, I would say, is a deeper year of having so many guys with experience. But it definitely was a point when we all got here together and we're creating the 2021 Texans, saying like we need an emphasis on the return game. So having multiple players back there that can do it, hopefully his will continue to prove itself.
What was Andre's mindset after he muffed the punt came to the sideline?
Next play. If there's one thing about me and being, maybe it's because I don't have that good of a memory, but I'm an in-the-moment guy. Maybe I'm not going to go win Jeopardy anytime soon, but we got to just be here now. We got to be in the moment, and all I care about is the next play, and I'm sure he's the exact same.
With the injuries that are at wide receiver right now, is it more preparing Desmond King for perhaps another role where Roberts needs to be used?
Sure. Same question, same answer, saying whoever we have to take care of in an instance. But at the end of the day, this is National Football League. We're about to play on Thursday night. The Carolina Panthers are sore. Houston Texans, whatever the injuries are coming out of the past Sunday's game, we'll handle those as they arise on the personnel available to us.
How disappointing was it when Culley declined that penalty and can't put it in the end zone?
Yeah, I think, anytime we go out to do our jobs, we want to perform the best of our ability. And if we go out for what we call like a midfield or a plus 50 punt, we want to go out, and the goal is to pin those guys inside of the 10 or 15-yard line and create a long field for the defense. It's a big key to success when you're playing a team that can sustain drives, and didn't get that done. Going to try and get that done here moving forward.
I might be mistaken, but I believe you were standing next to David when he was making that decision. Are you guys generally kind of talking through any of those, so-so or 50-50 kind of calls when it comes to fourth downs?
Coaches talk on every single play. We can communicate from anywhere just because I was near it, going into a potential fourth down or whatnot. So, we're talking on every situation. That's what special teams games is. We're preparing for situations, and 90% of the time it either converts or it doesn't. Then we just go back to our, hey, it's first down and we're rolling again. So, we'll talk through every situation that comes up in any game.
Last two.
I know you said, or you asked earlier if Desmond might play a similar role given how things have changed, but consider that you might have to rotate guys as returners, just kind of get the depth situation?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, everybody has multiple hats in an NFL game with 46 to 48, whatever it is, going to the game on game day. So, I can't go back there and do it. So, I think anybody will and want to, and we got a lot of guys that here are mentally tough, and we're, have proven that or continuing to show that. So, that's not a concern. Whoever's asked to do it is going to go back there and do it, and they're going to do the best to their abilities.
Last one. All set? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay. See you in a few hours here, 48 hours.
Well, a lot of people have tried to do that, as you said. He's one of the best players in our league. Can do it all. Of course, he's tough duty. As a receiver, when he's catching the football, whether out of the backfield, splitting him out as a wide receiver, they do a great job of putting him in different spots, getting the ball to him. But he's a running back, and of course, he can make you miss in the open field, run in between the tackles. I'm telling you all the things he does well, but how do you stop a guy? Well, it's still going to go back to, first off, being sound and disciplined. You can't make a mistake. You have to have somebody in every gap, gang tackle, pursuit to the football. All of those things gives you the best chance to slow him down a little bit. Not many people are going to stop him completely.
With the Panthers, do you see that they mix and match more than most teams normally do?
Mix and match, what do you mean by that?
Chris McCaffrey's wide receiver, different things. Sometimes receivers even run the ball.
Well, I don't think many people have a guy like that. And when you do have a guy like that, you're always trying to get a favorable matchup. And the more positions you put him in, the better chance you'll have of getting that. So he's kind of unique in that sense. And as I say, the coaches do a great job of that.
Levy, what did you see from your defense last week that you really liked?
That's a glass half full for sure, which I like. Things we, Justin Reed's play. We didn't play the run, and we gave up some big plays. We didn't like that. But, our guys play hard. They show up always. And, we always want to start fast on the road. We're able to do that, get a stop right away. Jacob Martin rushing the passer, different things like that. But what we like is a few times we took the ball away, but there's just so much we can improve upon. And that's why when you don't play your best game, you want to get back on the football field as soon as you can. And a Thursday night game, of course, allows you to do that. We've talked about the personnel as a defensive player to play against, one of the best players in the league. Start with that. And they have so much more. Excellent wide receiver core. As fast a receiver core as we're going to probably play. And Sam Darnold is playing outstanding ball. He's been a good player for a long period of time, and seems like he's gotten in the perfect situation for him.
What do you think makes that situation so much better suited for them now? What do you think they're doing that's kind of accentuating the ability of Darnold?
Well, I think most quarterbacks would say starting off with to have a special running back with you. That helps an awful lot. You got to still stop the run first, and that leads you to being able to pass the football, as a passer. But he can make all the throws, strong arm, smart quarterback, mobile enough, and I think it's the perfect offense for what he does best.
Well, keeping in mind the glass half full,
Yes.
are you even remotely surprised at the fact you've been preaching takeaways for a long time since you got here, and the way this team has had some success at that and warp speed, if you will?
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised. I've been disappointed as we haven't, been able to grasp, our philosophy on how we want to play defense. We have players that take coaching, so I wouldn't say surprised. It's something that we have to continue to do. I think if you put an emphasis, anything that's important to you, I think as a coach, and you put a big emphasis on it, and you have guys that are willing, I mean, you can get it done. But not the way we want. I mean, that was good getting a couple last week, and every time you see the defense taking the ball away, it kind of helps, but there's so much more that we can do.
After the game, Christian Kirksey talked about there being too many missed tackles. When you look at that on film, how do you, as a coach, you go about addressing that with the team as far as just tackling, making plays?
I mean, we address tackling every day we go on the football field. And just some days you miss tackles. It's no more than that. It's not like we haven't been preaching it, haven't been working on tackling. Some days you miss tackles. I think it's as simple as that. You want to get back out on the football field as much as anything. It's critical, though, and there were too many. And it's one thing to miss a tackle and just a great play by an offensive player. It's another just not to wrap up in some of those things that we did. That's not us. We haven't seen that since we've been here, and hopefully won't see it again. Yes.
In terms of how you guys face the run, facing a good running back tandem that will help you this week, which maybe have been seen in your team?
Well, no, I just assume that everybody believes in running the football, and each week you have to really be ready for all the different type of runs. And when you have a commitment to the run, which they have, you're gonna get the whole waterfront of all different types, and then with a special back like that. Again, that's when you haven't played your best ball the week before, especially playing the run. You want to get back out there. We're better than that, and what better chance to show it, of course, and against a team like this.
Hey, Lovey, there was a stat on Next Gen Stats about Jacob Martin, where he was one of the fastest in terms of get off at the start. What do you see when you watch him every day, just from plays like that?
I haven't seen that, but it doesn't surprise me. Jacob has excellent speed. He fits a profile that we would like at our 5 technique, our open end position. He's athletic enough. You've seen him play on different special teams too. Maybe even linebacker type skill set that he has. It's a big game for him, of course, playing against his old college coach too. But we want to be able to rush the passer with a 4-man rush and not have to rely on blitzing. And Jacob does that. You look back to the preseason, I can recall against Dallas to start the game off, you had to get him in a one-on-one situation with a tackle. Again, he can beat a lot of guys.
What's the key to rushing 4 when you've got 5 blocking and sometimes 6 or 7?
I'm sorry?
What's the key to rushing with 4 when you have so many guys blocking?
That's a tough one. I still don't quite know if I understand the question you're saying.
Well, you're rushing 4, and they're keeping 5.
And they're keeping 5. All right, now I'm with you. Now I'm with you, John. You see, what's the key? Well, in an ideal world, even when we blitz, to me, a good blitz is if you're getting a one-on-one situation. When they're keeping other guys in, they can't keep enough guys in where everybody is double teamed, and that guy has to win. Sometimes, John, it's just as simple as that. And if you're keeping that many guys in, that kind of lends to, us playing a little bit of zone coverage. If they're outnumbering you as far as protection, we should be able to outnumber them as far as the coverage part. That's a basic philosophy that we have. We're going to get that time in, week in, and it's a compliment to the defensive line if teams feel like they have to do it that way. I think what you can't practice, John, is taking guys to the ground. But I think most, if you say it's bad tackling, it's more of the approach as much as anything. It's about leverage with most things. And that was the case the other day. And then just wrapping up. You don't have to put a guy down all the way on the ground. It's been so long since anyone has been tackling all the way to the ground. And we play good games without missing tackles where we've been using the same approach. We just got to concentrate on it a little bit more, get more guys to the ball, and wrap up better.
When you look at your preparation, and you mentioned everything about Christian McCaffrey, how much do you have to tell your guys that obviously that's a focal point, but you mentioned all the speed they have on the outside, that they don't turn their back on those other guys, and that some guys are going to have to just make a play in certain instances.
Well, I think it always comes down to that a little bit, but I think, we're all kind of, students of the game a little bit. The special players in the league, they know who McCaffrey is, but it is so much more than that. In order for that to happen, you have to have a good offensive line. I thought the offensive line played well. You have to have a quarterback that can push the ball down the field. So I think whatever affects you the most, you concentrate on that a little bit more. Our secondary, our back end, believe me, they know all about the skilled guys that they have at the receiver position and tight end. And the linebackers, of course, know both.
Last two guys.
You spoke about Justin Reed earlier. How much difference do you see watching him on film coming into this year and seeing him play on the field?
Well, coming in, what I noticed about Justin is that he played hard every down. I think one of the first calls I made to him, I was watching video of him just running a guy down, playing hard. That's a good starting spot. What Justin has not been able to do an awful lot in the past that I saw were splash plays, big plays. And if you're a DB, if you're talking about one of the better DBs in the league, it's about them being able to go and get the ball. That interception he had the other day, we're in a typical zone, one of our signature cover 2 defense, safety is reading the quarterback, excellent break by him. He's capable of those type plays. If you just look at skill set, he's got great speed, he'll hit you, he's a smart player, he's got a lot going for him. But maybe my favorite play that he made Sunday against the Browns was our safeties also have to be able to tackle and to be able to, to take the ball away there based on a big hit. He can do a lot of things well.
With Terrence Mitchell being in the concussion protocol, I'm going to ask Coach Culley about this earlier. With Terrence Mitchell being in the concussion protocol, how do you see y'all addressing the depth of that position? Do you see stepping up, whether it's Tremont or elsewhere?
Well, that's it, and that's pretty much what we go on. If the guy's in the concussion protocol, if he can go, he's in. If not, it's always about the next man up. I'm sure that's what Coach Culley would tell you. That's what I'm saying. You mentioned Tremont Smith that stepped up Saturday. I've seen him get better and better throughout. So it'll be that mentality as we go through. And, again, we'll just keep bumping guys up, and we expect them to play well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Different things for you with Davis out there as opposed to Tyrod?
Yeah, I think anytime you have a different quarterback in the game, you're doing what you can to try to play to his strengths. So, Davis has done a good job since he's got here, coming in and putting himself in a position to go out and hopefully make that transition seamlessly. And we're going to still do what we can to make sure we're putting him in a spot to be successful.
When you think most teams will tighten up the quarterback, because we're anticipating that before the game, do you change a few things, just thinking about, well, maybe this, we can do that?
Yeah, I think there's a fine line there, Aaron, between doing that and then chasing ghosts. So we're going to go off of what we've seen off of our film study throughout the past 2 years and doing a good job there and making sure that we're as prepared as we can be for what we anticipate seeing.
Do you think there'll be
Yeah, I mean, other than the first drive, I don't think he was really that uncomfortable on Sunday, and that's probably to be expected for a guy that's come in. And I mean, that's not an easy place to play, and the situation was tough being backed up like we were. So I thought he did a good job of settling down, and really he put us in a spot to make it a one-score game with just over 2 to go. So yeah, there's some things that we need to clean up, and I need to clean up, but hopefully, like you said, with him getting these reps, he's feeling, more comfortable, if you want to say that, moving forward. But I didn't think he was uncomfortable on Sunday.
Took him to get rid of the ball and Sunday. He ranked near the top of the league in terms of time to throw, but I know that needs the context of kind of direction and some plays you were calling and stuff.
Yeah, I thought for the most part he did a good job, other than the one, of recognizing the front and identifying the defense and getting the ball out of his hand.
What has impressed you about his development in the last few weeks?
He's really smart. He comes to work every day. He studies, and he's got he can make every throw that you want him to make. So now it's going to be fun to see him go out there under the lights and go out there and perform at a high level.
What stands out to you specifically about the Panthers defense?
They're fast, and they run to the ball at every level. They've got guys that can fly. They're two ends. Are as good of a speed rusher as we've seen. Obviously, we saw 2 good rushers last week, but they're totally different. Got really good athleticism. They can bend. They've got good counter moves to the inside. Shaq runs all over the place. He runs and hits. The chin guy, flies around. He's blitzing. He sticks his foot in the ground last year against Green Bay. Comes down and makes a play. Almost gets the ball out 17 yards downfield. Like he's just all of them play really, really hard. You feel their team speed when you watch them play. Go ahead, Brett.
Not having a guy like Tyrod who can give you an advantage on running and things like that. How does that present a challenge whenever the defense can maybe expect more narrow stuff in the run game?
Yeah, I mean, it may be a little bit more traditional. I wouldn't say that we're completely out of that. So there's going to be different challenges when you have, like we talked about earlier, with each quarterback that goes out there, there's going to be things that certain people do better than others. So it's our job as coaches to figure what they do best and make sure we're putting them in those spots as many times as possible.
Tim, with everything they do defensively that you kind of mentioned, what can you put on Justin and guys on the offensive line to help with some of those pre-snap calls and stuff? Can you do that and have them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that'll change compared to what we've done, but those guys up front do a great job of the communication between, the center, the tackles, the guards, and the quarterback is continuous when they break the huddle. Hey, what's the front? Where are the safeties? How much time's left? All that stuff. And, every play, no matter who's under center, that's going on. So we're fortunate to have a veteran group up front. Obviously Justin's leading that group, and we're going to count on them to come out and continue to lead and continue to play well. But I don't know if we're going to put anything else on their plate.
When you have that many injuries on a game, not just quarterback but receivers, you're walking tight end. How difficult did that make it to continue to run the things you needed to, and how creative did you need to get?
I mean, that's our job, is to figure it out. There's no, Cleveland didn't care, so we can't waste any time on the sideline worried about hypotheticals. We just got to, hey, okay, what do we got to do now? What are we in? What are we out of? Who can do what? And be able to adjust on the fly. That's one of the many lessons that we've learned here over the however many years. Going back to Tennessee, I think it was in 17 there, like we lost all our wideouts. We had to put a running back out there to play wide receiver. So, with the roster limitations in this league, like you got to be able to adjust fast and figure out how to, get through the game if you get into a worst case situation.
How much roster limitations do you have to work through for Carolina here?
I mean, we're going in there with a full slate, so we'll be good.
Can you talk about, you said all the quarterbacks, everybody does something different that's better or strength. But other than the fact that Davis is smart and works hard, what is that about him?
That he does well. He's able to. He's got a really good grasp of the offense. I think he can make all the throws. You saw him make some pretty good throws on Sunday. The one to Jordan Akins on third down, was really good as far as his anticipation and his accuracy with that ball. He put it right where it needed to be with the coverage. As far as him being able to operate from the pocket, I think he does that really well.
Tim, you mentioned that you had some things to clean up, but throughout the game, I was looking online, there was a lot of compliments about the way you were calling the game. I know the play of Philip Lindsay stood out to a lot of people. What would you say it is that you need to clean up, or where you feel like you should get better as a play caller?
Yeah, we've got to do a better job of taking advantage of all the turnovers Lovey's getting. So we got to figure out a way to consistently turn those into points. We did a good job last week coming out and starting fast, but being able to maintain that momentum throughout, and just continually, putting good drives together, and really staying out of third and longs and staying ahead of the sticks on first and second down.
Coach, what was Davis Mills' mindset when you told him in the second half that he'd be starting?
Okay, I mean he's pretty even keeled. There wasn't really any hesitation or anything. It was kind of, hey, just we got to go. This is what we're doing. Here's our plan. These plays. We've run these plays. We've executed these. So there wasn't really much of a hesitation or anything there. It was just kind of like, okay.
Two more. What do you lose in a guy like Nico Collins, and how do you adapt around that?
Yeah, Nico's a big, strong guy. Wish he was a little faster after that first play. But he's a big, strong guy who comes out and you feel his size and you feel how physical he is when he plays. Luckily for us, we've got some other guys. Chris Conley's kind of in that mold also. Bigger, stronger player who can go make those contested catches. All of our players have different skill sets. We're not putting all these guys in the same mold. So, again, it's our job as an offensive staff to figure out, what guys are going to do what for us, what they do well, and figure out, how many times we can get them to do that on Thursday.
How much do you take into account that he was one of the smartest players in the draft, or do you just have to remember he's a rookie taking his first shot?
Yeah, you definitely have to bring that into account. Going back to some of the experiences we've had here with some rookie quarterbacks, going back to 17 and just thinking about some of the things that came up, being able to, it doesn't matter how much we know, it doesn't matter how easy it is for us to say something or to hear something, or it's got to be something that our guys can go out and do and our quarterback can go out and do in front of however many thousands of people are going to be here on Thursday night. So there's definitely, you have to take some of that into account, but at the same time we got to put him in a spot to go and win the game for us too. So you're kind of towing the line a little bit there, but that's definitely something that we're taking into account.
James and Aaron.
Tim, this is a first start for him in a short week. Obviously, you're probably hoping the game was on Sunday, but what are your days like? How long are you and Davis here? Just kind of let us inside that a little bit about the work.
It's obviously with the condensed week, it's tough for the players just because they're typically. I mean, what is today? Today's Tuesday. Typically today, like they're still trying to get their legs back, get their body back. So, that's the tough part is putting them in a spot and giving them an opportunity to really recover, not just physically but mentally. It's hard to play, it's hard to play this game. So being able to recover both physically and mentally is paramount. And so we're giving him every opportunity to do that. He's in early, he's staying late, and Pep's doing a great job, making sure that he's as ready as he can be. And I mean, us coaches, we work late anyway, so it's just it's not that different for us.
Coaching Anthony Miller, since you guys acquired him in trade, what do you see from him? What do you expect from him against the Panthers? Just his skill set as a player.
Yeah, I'm expecting him to come out and have a good game. He's fast, he's explosive, he's strong, he's competitive, he plays with an edge. He's a guy that we're looking forward to getting out there and hopefully he can go out and perform the way that we think he's going to, because he does some really good stuff, when we're on that practice field.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.